how do we get new clients? But the other thing, of course, is the existing clients, how do we make sure they come when they're meant to, so the pets get the healthcare they deserve? And how do we make sure that the number of visits they have and the transactions they have is the maximum possible for the benefit of those pets? So I'm delighted today to welcome you to our webinar on behalf of IVA, the Independent Vets of Australia. And also we've got some special guests. We have Stuart Towers from Virtual Recall, iRecall, and we have Dr. Jim Thompson from Turramurra Veterinary Hospital. So I'm delighted to have them here. I'll back to me again. Thanks very much for all of you, this terrific number of attendees. Thanks very much for joining us today. And we want this not to be just a lecture at all. We're going to have a good chat between the participants. But also we want you to engage. We're going to poll you and ask you some questions and that sort of thing. Obviously, when it comes to reminder systems, it's about software. So we'll ask you a little bit about software as well. And we're going to be pretty strict with our time, and we won't keep you past 2 o'clock. Maybe we'll even get an early mark. So we really appreciate you being with us today, and we know how busy it is in practice, even if it's lunchtime. So let me just go back to the screen again, and hopefully you can see that. And I need to do that. So the vital importance of an effective reminder system. First of all, can I take the liberty, because I've noticed that amongst our attendees for this webinar, many of you, I don't think, know about the Independent Vets of Australia. So let me just spend one moment telling you about us. Independent Vets of Australia is a new buying group and a management group that is actually owned by more than 200 vets. And the IVA group is all about helping independent vets in Australia be successful, be profitable, have practices that are easy and a pleasure to manage and own, and to, I guess, help to level the playing field a bit against this growing number of corporates and big box pet stores. And so just to give that independent vet a bit of a leg up when we're trying to compete with this new reality in Australia in the vet and pet markets. So if you're at all interested in what we may be able to do for you, then please make contact with us, and we would love to be able to share with you what we do, what we can bring to your practice. It's certainly very significant savings in your cost of goods sold, and that's through excellent discounts and rebates. But it's not just about reducing your cost of goods sold, it's actually about growing the pie and growing your practice revenues, growing your profitability, and helping you on the management side. So please reach out if that's of any interest to you. So now to our special guest, Stuart Towers. Thank you very much for joining us from iRecall. And we're now going to talk about reminders and the importance of reminders and the importance of communicating to our clients and how to do that effectively. And this will have two effects. It's going to absolutely catapult your revenue, and two, it's going to wow your clients because they want to be communicated with effectively and in a way that suits them. And so this is something we're going to talk about. So welcome, Stuart.
Thank you, Mark. Good to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you. So
okay.
Now can see our pretty faces, and it'll probably come in and out. I think as you talk, Stuart, your face will appear for everyone.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Well, thank you for attending. What I thought I'd do just to start with, and Mark's introduced it well about being communication and reminders. I'll just say something about the product iRecall just to set the scene as to what we're talking about. If you go to the next slide, Mark. iRecall is the only complete integrated reminder service using SMS, email and print tailored to a clinic for their individual clients. ensuring you can adhere to, they can adhere to the vet's recommendations every day of the year. It's fully automated, daily reminders that require no ongoing input from the staff. It's set and forget and talks to your live database. So it's a piece of software that sits on your server and talks to your database. Next slide, please, Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, well, okay. Maybe one more.
No problem.
Okay, no, we've missed a couple of slides, but not to worry. I want to now introduce James Thompson from Turramurra, who will have a quick chat and I'll ask him a few questions. He has been using iRecall since September last year, in 2016. So he's got some actual experience under his belt. And I'm quite happy to make this an open discussion, not just about iRecall, but about the ability and importance of sending messages and communications from your database. I think quite a lot of vets do underutilize what is a real key competitive advantage they have in the marketplace, which is such a detailed database and information about your clients. So Jim, are you there?
I am indeed.
Well done. So Jim, I've got a brief bio for Jim. He started Turramurra Vet Hospital from scratch 11 years ago. He's now got what you call a 3.5 vet practice in a very competitive area. He uses the practice management system Open VPMS and has done since the start, I believe. And He has achieved the AVA Practice of Excellence Award in Customer Service 3 or 4 years ago, and recently received the ASAV Hospital of Excellence accreditation. So welcome, Jim.
Thanks, Stuart. Thanks, Mark.
Now, you tell me from a veterinary point of view, you're running a practice day in, day out. Why do you think this area of client compliance, and why do you think it's an area we should focus on?
I think your reminders are the heartbeat of your practice, and if your reminders are not going out or are late, then in effect your practice is having a cardiac arrest. They just have to go out. You have to stay in contact with your clients because everyone else under the sun is contacting them now. We get, in Sydney at least, we get inserts in the major weekend newspapers with various pet warehouses and online sales, and all of that is now a threat to what was once a vet-only area of business, so parasiticides. I mean, they can't get vaccinations online or thankfully yet, but God, one day perhaps, who knows.
I think you make a good point. I think, and a lot of vet clinics and team members talk about our clients and my clients. And what we really need to make happen is that the people that you're communicating talk about you as my vet. You know, that you are connected with them, you are talking to them, and they feel a piece of loyalty to you. What do you think your clients actually expect in this area, Jim?
Well, we've got a wide variety of clients, but the good clients and the ones you want to keep coming back want their animals protected from ticks. They want them protected from parasites and their families too. If some of the gastrointestinal parasites are zoonotic diseases, then they don't want those. And neither do they want infectious diseases to threaten the lives of their pets. But in today's busy world, it's easy to forget. So a reminder is vital.
Okay. And you started using iRecall in October 2016. Can you describe what you were doing prior to this?
Yeah, absolutely. We were doing traditional hard copy paper reminders, which involve printing out several hundred pieces of paper, hand folding them, putting stamps on, maybe putting an insert or a brochure in, but ultimately having to take them to the post office and post them all out. And in busy periods, that might get delayed 1 or 2 days, and in really hectic periods, it might be 7 to 10 days. Naturally, nurses will look after the animals first, which is what we all want. But it's a shame if your vaccination reminders are not going out late, particularly at Christmas. I mean, if your or school holidays. If you're doing them a week or two late, you may miss the opportunity to vaccinate them before they go into boarding kennels. They get done at the kennels or some other place, and then you've potentially lost them forever.
Yeah, good point. Which of your team members were responsible for sending the reminders previously?
Well, I had one particular nurse delegated to that, and the others knew how to do it if she was away, but we had that delegated.
Yeah.
But it could take
how much
4 or
time
5
did
hours of work.
And did you enjoy it?
No. She enjoyed having the responsibility of such an important role, and we made it very clear it was very important, but it is a chore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I talked to some...
Costly too, in both staff time and stationery. The Australia Post standard stamps have gone from 70 cents to $1 now, so if you're sending out several hundred, you're quickly closing in between the stationery, the stamps, and the staff time. You're well over 500 pretty quickly and closing in on 1,000, and that's every 2 weeks.
And did you consider it what you were doing effective?
Yes and no. People do get a lot of post, and I think technology changes. So, things change. People, certainly SMS, I think, is the most effective.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't lose sight that a reminder, whether it comes in print, SMS, or an email, is still an important thing. Which one you want to send is, but the fact that you're communicating in a consistent manner with your clients is the important thing.
Yep. And I'll just put on the table that we are continuing to do paper hard copy reminders in conjunction with the iRecall SMSs for vaccination and for ProHeart SR12 heartworm injection. We've totally dumped them for all the parasiticides, so flea and tick, frontline spray, worming, etc. And that saves us a truckload of time and money.
Okay, so you've been using... Go on, Mark.
Stuart and James, do you mind? Can I ask the pair of you, James, what sort of reminders? You mentioned vaccines, you mentioned ProHeart, parasiticides. Yep. Are there other things that you might send reminders for? And Stuart, are there other things that we haven't thought of?
Blood. I guess blood tests or rechecks, dental rechecks, diabetic rechecks, heart disease rechecks might go out depending on the patient every 3 or 4 months. Senior animals you might do every 6 months. Again, I'll be honest, we haven't probably got, we have that working fairly well. We haven't put those other things onto iRecall yet.
Well, another one there is arthritis injections. Is often we get a lot of
Artrophin, that sort of thing.
For those ones.
I've been getting my hospital rebuild complete, and then we'll have a look at that, those other things. But certainly the vaccine, the ProHeart, and the parasiticides are working extremely well.
Gents, I wonder if we might just ask our audience what sorts of things they do. Do you mind? Let me just do a poll here.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Here's a poll. I'd just love to hear what you all think. What reminder services do you currently offer to your clients? Here we go. The votes are coming in.
I'd be interested how many people are reminding on appointments, Mark. I know I tell my dentist if he doesn't send me the reminder now, I'm very unlikely to show up because he's consistent about doing it. If he forgets one time, I'm not going to show up.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, if we're not doing this, we're almost being left behind, aren't we? Because the hairdressers are doing it, the dentists are doing it.
My wife gets one for a nail appointment or a blooming Thai massage now.
Yes.
And they welcome it. Someone I was speaking to the other day, I think it was a colleague in the veterinary industry, said if they don't get an SMS from their GP now, they just forget to go to the appointment.
I'll just share the results of that. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So everybody's doing the parasiticide. The vaccination.
Yes.
Pretty much. Appointment 60%. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's room. There's definitely room there, and I know for us, we go through periods where there are no shows, which is very frustrating.
Good
and
grief.
so I can imagine if you're reminding for appointments, that the no shows will go down.
As long as, I think the key there though, Mark, is you've got to be consistent and automate it. Otherwise, everything's busy in the practice one day and suddenly the time runs out and you haven't reminded people about the appointments tomorrow.
Yes.
So if you do it, you must be consistent, would be the message there.
And to that point, it's actually a fundamental of business, isn't it? I mean, really, we should be striving. If we take our vet hat off and our practice owner hat on, we're running a business. We should systemize that business, and this sort of thing is a perfect way to systemize it, because, as Jim's already alluded to, if someone's having a sick day and then they don't go out, and I know when it's quiet, I'll say to my practice manager, Renata, have we been sending the reminders out? And whereas we don't have to worry about that with a good system like this. It just happens every day. Peace of mind. Anyway, sorry.
No, I appreciate that, Mark. That's good. Just going back to your situation then, Jim, when and we'll talk about a little bit about the implementation, how you went about it, but I want to jump to the results first. What results, percentage growth over a previous year, have you seen since you implemented parasite reminders, which I should highlight to everybody? Parasite reminders are not reminders to get people back in after 6 months and you think they've run out. A parasite reminder is a monthly reminder to take the product out of the cupboard and treat the pet. And also
for those products that are monthly.
But yes, and if it's 3 monthly, it's a 3 monthly reminder, correct? Yeah. So can you just share with me a little bit about your results?
Well, first of all, the new SMS reminders were very well received, overwhelmingly well received. Most people found it courteous and helpful. Sure, there were 1 or 2 people who didn't want them, and they're very easy to switch off for those people. Then the actual sales results are excellent. For parasiticides, we're in a tick area, just to put you in the picture. We're in northern suburban Sydney. Many of the suburbs adjoin a large national park which is teeming with wallabies, bandicoots and other wildlife. Our parasiticides have gone up 43% over the same period the year before, which is about 3 times our underlying growth rate. And that is in the context of the sort of massive competition from newly established pet warehouses, pet barns, online sales, etc., etc., etc. So it's a really remarkable result. Our reps actually came in and said, "What the hell are you doing? What's changed?" And
amazing, yeah.
Clearly working. It's clearly well above or 3 times our underlying baseline growth rate. And
I'm sure the rep took the credit back at head office, however, James.
I'm sure they did. But it's vital we keep folks coming in. And I mean that I don't really have any way of measuring what other products people got when they came in to get their parasitic drugs, but we probably picked up a fair bit of pet food sales along the way. Perhaps a few, chat with the receptionist and, maybe we will book in for that thing. Rusty sneezing or etc. So if they come through the door, it's good for you.
And what about your vaccinations and SR12? You clearly had a reminder system in for these ones beforehand. What impact did the system have?
It was up, I think, 23 to 25% over the year before. And I guess our underlying growth rate is about 12 to 14%, something like that. Yeah. Now, and the parasitic result is especially interesting in light of totally withdrawing from any hard copy paper reminders for those products. As I mentioned before, we have continued for vaccination and ProHeart, and we're not quite ready to give up on that hard copy posted reminder, but I guess the parasitic products were the ones most at risk of being lost because they can get them anywhere else. Now,
yeah. I think the result is interesting in itself in that when you set up this communication, you're not sending messages to anybody else apart from those that are buying parasiticide products from you. So it really is an increase in compliance from the people that are buying products from you rather than an increasing a number of customers that are coming to buy products from you.
But an increasing compliance, for instance, with vaccination means less leakage as well. As I outlined before, if they're going to a boarding kennel and they need to be vaccinated and they're, our boarding kennel vet can do that, then you've lost them and potentially you've lost them forever. But if they're coming to you for their vaccination, there's a pretty good chance they'll come the following year as well.
Now, Jim, take me back to the IVA PM conference, which was, I think, back then in 2016 when I first met you and talked about this product. What were your positive and what were your negative thoughts about this product when you first heard about it?
It was exactly what I was looking for. I had been talking with a vet in Western Australia who was using a less effective SMS product where they had to do a lot of manual entry. And I was toying with the idea of going with that, but it seemed like a lot of hard work. So this, I recall SMS seemed a very attractive product. I guess the potential downside was that we might irritate our clients through SMSs, but it hasn't been the case.
So you were a little
the other issue was, is it going to work? And so initially we did keep going with the paper reminders for everything, but we soon gained the confidence that we were able to ditch them for the parasitic products, and that saved us a lot of time and money. And they go out on time.
Stuart and James, can I wonder if this is a good time. Do you mind if I just ask our attendees for their opinion on how their reminders are going, and just what their sense of the success is and the effectiveness of their reminders. Everyone, if hope you're not gone to sleep out there, all of you, but we'd love for you to say hello and just perhaps just type in the chat section a little about your reminder systems and how effective you think they are. Let's nominate vaccines for argument's sake.
Yeah.
So arguably, that's the most important one for veterinary practice.
And maybe people could comment on how many reminders they send. Is it 1, 2, or 3? What's if they don't show up?
Right. How far we go to follow up. So attendees, type away in the chat box and let us know what you do.
While those are coming through, Mark, and maybe you can jump back in and tell us a few of the responses when you get them there. Just when you started iRecall, Jim, what was the response of your staff members? How did they go with the new system?
I think they were pretty happy. They got positive feedback. I mean, you do have to train them and say, look, 1 or 2 people won't like this, and if so, then just find out what they don't like and whether they want them switched off altogether, or whether there indeed is a bug or something like that, or it's not working as intended. But overall, people were very good. I mean, 1 or 2 people don't like change and don't like, they want things not to change at all. But things do change. We have to change, adapt or die.
No, that's good. And your reaction.
I think also, the staff kind of came up with their own little line. They said, "Look, we're trialing this new system. We've had fabulous feedback. We think it'll be a lot more effective. And when all's said and done, ticks will kill your pet. So it's pretty important that we get that reminder out. It's a courtesy. You know, we're trialing it. If you don't like it, we can switch you off. But the response has been fabulous. Keep it positive. I mean, if in the small percent of people who won't like it, just say, well, gee, we're surprised everyone else loves it, which is pretty true.
Jim and Stuart, I've got some interesting feedback coming in here. Diane has mentioned that in their practice they're using paper reminders and send about approximately 120 a week, including vaccines, health checks, arthritis reminders, and but also using text messages, but in a manual sense, with the comment that that's very labour intensive. So this is probably quite interesting to Diane. Andrew said that the last time we monitored the success of the vaccination reminders, which was 3 or 4 years ago, it was about 50%. And recently I had the stats. We looked at the stats in my practice as well, and boy, it's sobering. There's only, I think for me, it was 56% of our active pets in our database had been vaccinated. So that's another issue in itself, let alone the response rate to reminders. Peter has said that they've introduced this year their own SMS and email system and backup by post and phone, and so they're sending about 5 reminders, which I think, Stuart, that's consistent with what you do.
Yeah.
And they were only getting about a 50% response to paper alone. So that's probably going to be increasing. And Stephanie says she thinks that her reminders are working quite well, and they do send paper as well, but they have generated SMSs for the parasiticides. But like the comment before, manually labour intensive and subject to human error. Brooke, reminders in the post each month, followed by a phone call and SMS. And then Andrew's gone on to say he's using the SMS appointment reminder system within his practice management software, and still gets some no-shows, as do we, I'm afraid. So that's great feedback from some of our attendees. That's excellent.
I wonder how much time people are using, or how much time people are spending on getting the reminders out too. Staff time is costly. I mean, that's our biggest expense as a small business.
Absolutely. I mean, when I think about it, we've got $1 a stamp, a letterhead, an envelope, and then someone there printing them all out and then sitting there folding them and taking them to the post office. It's hours a month, isn't it?
Dealing with printer snarls. Oh, some of them didn't come out.
Yes.
There's been out of ink.
Okay, Jim, just another question for you following on. We know changing practice management systems can be a huge pain, and many people are averse to even considering the notion of doing something like that. Can you just describe to me the setup of iRecall and how it was from your perspective when we showed up at your and wanted to implement iRecall?
I would say it was relatively straightforward. I wouldn't say it wasn't completely straightforward, but the small amount of time that we invested in getting it running properly, really has made our lives a hell of a lot easier, because we're wasting a lot less time on paper reminders. And people will come in on time. The reminders go out on time. People will come in on closer to being on time.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Well, there certainly weren't any massive snarls.
Yeah.
It was more a little bit of fine tuning.
Okay, thanks, Jim. We'll have some more questions in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Stuart, that comment then, that reminds me, I think, of something important, because you know the old business formula that a business's revenue equals the number of clients they have times the number of visits they come in times the average transaction value. And so I'm pretty sure I've seen something, Stuart, about the effectiveness of a good reminder system such as yours, bringing that interval down between reminder. We all think it's an annual vaccination reminder and therefore it's all done annually, but they're actually not. It ends up being not 12 months, but maybe 13 months or 14 months between. And then a good system can bring that back down closer to 12.
You're very right in what you say. The product that I support here, iRecall, has been used in the UK for several years now, and they have done some studies about what they call the intravaccinal interval, which is often 430, 440 days on average. And if you can get that down to high 300s or around 400 days on average, that's essentially an extra vaccination in its lifetime for that animal. And clearly better medicine, better protection than vaccinating 75 days late all the time.
And probably what
will keep their mobile number too longer than their address. I mean, I've had mine for nearly 20 years, but we commonly have return to sender postal reminders because people have moved, and updating their details at the vet is the last thing they think of. But the SMS will still get through.
Yeah, our recommendation with iRecall is that you should really focus on text messaging. You can support that very easily and effectively and cheaply with email, but don't rely on email because it's much more difficult to reach people. And where necessary, still use paper. Don't forget paper where, clearly there's some clients that have been with you for a lot of years or whatever, and they don't have a mobile number and they don't have an email address, and they still are relatively excited to get the letter. So don't forget to do that, but don't set your whole strategy just on that. And that's essentially how we built the iRecall model. Mark, if possible, could you just go back to the presentation? I'll show you a little bit more data from a couple of other clinics that were early adopters in this area.
Yeah, let's do it.
See how you go.
There we go. There we are. I'll just have to flick.
So if you go to the next slide, Mark.
Yeah.
And this is results again from the UK. Go one more. Keep going. That's it.
Oh, that's one.
Yeah, no, that one for now. Yeah, this is essentially the uplift in vaccine numbers seen in clinics per full-time vet equivalent each month. So you could expect to treat 4.4 more cats and 9 more dogs when using automated reminders in this way. So that was a 30 clinic pilot study. And if we go to the next one, this was our longest user of iRecall in Australia. They went live in July 2015. It's a 2.5 full-time equivalent vet practice in Sydney. And what you can see on the left-hand side is the number of consults in the calendar year. So what we call that is the moving annual total, how many consults that they've done in the previous year. And you can see up until June 2015, they were declining. That was partly due to 3-year vaccinations and partly due to, a less effective reminder system, if you like. And following the implementation of iRecall and automated reminders using SMS, email, and supported by print, they've now built themselves back up to 2,700 vaccination consults a year. So that's a really promising reaction that they had from using iRecall. If you go one more. This is SR12. So in SR12s there, you see the big difference. They were standard around 850 consults per year until they started the automated reminder system using SMS, text, and paper if necessary. They've got themselves up to 1,000 SR12 consults. And once they've got up there, then they have plateaued at that level. Their next challenge is to look at then how they can get more clients into that clinic. They've clearly improved the compliance and got them up to 1,000 consults per year. Next slide. So looking at the cost and the return on investment for that clinic that I'm talking about, in terms of the vaccine module, and when we talk about the vaccine module, we include SR12 in there. So a vaccine and SR12 is in the same module. That was costing this clinic around $330 per month. They were getting 12.5 extra SR12s per month and around 33 vaccine consults per month additional through the charts that I've shown you. And on top of that, obviously, they've got a reduced amount of printing, postage, and admin. And I think Jim made a very good point about his clinic, about the extra income coming from these extra visits, which is what we refer to as footfall. If they're coming in earlier, they're likely to be booking something else and buying something else whilst they're there. So that's an actual example of our longest user in Australia, and we're still a relatively new product in Australia. So that one's gone very well. Next slide.
Stuart, those figures are absolutely compelling. I mean, what a no-brainer. I mean, there's $330 a month, and even if you just conservatively said the gross profit on the Pro Heart and a gross profit on the vaccine, say $100, it's $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
Not even including the fact that they might need X-rays or a Pendazan or a blood test or come in for dental or anything like that. You can't find better returns on investment than that. And also at the end of the day, our primary reason for being is promoting pets' health. So that's
he's ticking all those boxes for sure.
40 or 50 animals a month that are getting the things they need that they weren't getting before. That's excellent.
It's a very good. I haven't got they had a similar result with the parasites. I haven't put that data in here yet, but we'll just talk about driving footfall and improving compliance. And this actually refers to what you were talking about, Mark, with the intervaccinal interval. So they reduced it from about 405 days, and this is the UK study I should talk about now, down to 370 days for dogs and 375 for cats, which does overall make a big difference and is better medicine. And your comment also reminds me, Mark, of Zoetis, the company showed me some market research they did about clients who intend to treat their animals every day, or not every day, every month or every 3 months. They intend to be compliant, but when they go to the cupboard, they often see 2 or 3 packets of different medication that they've got collected there over the past few months. And they can't remember which one to give to which pet. So they shut the cupboard again, move on to the next thing, and forget to do it. And that's very much where sending them a message saying, Toby, he's due his Simparica, or Choby is due his NexGard tomorrow, is very simple, clear, and effective for the pet owner. And I describe it often like an extension of the consult. You made that recommendation for them in the consult, and a month later or 3 months later, you tap them on the shoulder to make sure that they're continuing with that recommendation. Next slide. Yeah.
Stuart, bullet point 3 there, it's running every day. That resonates with me because, typically we send out a batch of letters every 2 weeks or every week or a month or something like that. And then all of a sudden your poor reception team get bombarded in a big batch of reminders, all coming to make appointments. And then, whereas this sort of system just dribbles out every day. So there's no peak of demand on our reception team. And the other thing, of course, is if it's an SMS, nowadays it's so convenient. If we say put the clinic phone number in the SMS, they just click on the button and call us.
Very, very, very true. Make it very simple. They can do it in the bus queue. They can do it on the bus because we know they're not talking to each other on the bus. They can quite happily call and make the vaccine appointment whilst they are there. So it is. It's making it simple for them. Just go on one more, please. So yeah, why does iRecall produce these results? And we've now got it running in just, I think, 79 practices in Australia. These are some of the points. Happy to take comments from anybody as well out there. I think it comes from your vet is important. We replace the telephone number, the generic telephone number on the top of text messages with the name of the vet clinic. And I think that's quite important. So that's at the top. Text and SMS is 99% opened, which is a staggering figure. And it kind of creates action and is much more universal than email, for example. A couple of other points down there. This product was developed by a couple of vets in the UK who know what veterinary databases look like. So smart interpretation of database means that if you've got some text in your mobile number field because somebody's written, Mrs. or, avoid using this number or whatever, something in there, we will just lift out the 04 number. So often people have put text into that field, it will be ignored. I think that point about pet owners seeing this as an extension of the consult and a useful reminder and not marketing is important to put in your mind as well. I think it's very, very true not to be conscious that we don't want to bombard people. However, if you use the pet owner's, the pet's name, and you use and you know the product that they were recommended, you're making it very personal. It's not broadcast marketing as such. Okay.
True.
Now, just point out, guys, there's 15 minutes only to go. So we might have to talk a bit faster, I'm not sure. But I think this is an important point, this one too.
Yeah, and I'll just highlight this one, and we're nearly done actually, Mark, well, pending any questions. But often, this is an important thing, often your biggest clients have 3 or 4 pets, the multi-pet households. What we do is, and if you were using a regular system, a 4-pet household that was due a vaccine and an SR12, if we're not careful, that'll generate 8 messages. 8 messages coming on all at once is annoying to many clients. It just looks clunky and is annoying. So it appears as spam. What we do in iRecall, we will combine the multiple pet households and their treatments into one message. So if there's 4 pets and they're all due a vaccine and SR12, we'll say that in the message. If there's 4 pets and they do different parasiticide products for each pet, we will reflect that in the single message. So that's a really important additional feature which makes it appear to the client that we've sat there and personally texted them about what treatments are due or what vaccines or heartworm control is due. So don't be careful not to bombard your biggest clients will be my comment, and certainly iRecall can help you do that.
Stuart, can I just ask a question on behalf of one of our attendees? Sandra has asked the question with iRecall. Does iRecall, the company, also send posted paper reminders?
We don't at the moment in Australia. What we do is if we go through your database and we know somebody's due an SR12 or a vaccine, for example, but we don't have a mobile number or an email address in that record, we will propose that we will set up a letter ready to print in our online portal that I'll show you in a minute. And at the moment, we ask you to print those out and send them. So in a regular practice that's been sending 200 reminders, they still might have, depending how good your database is, they still might have 10 or 12 letters to send during the month. And we just ask you to print those out locally onto your letterhead and send them. The additional way, we still do use paper, or clinics do have an option, and there's lots of options you can be in and out of here, is that when it comes to the final reminder, which is often set at 75 days after they should have been vaccinated, the clinic will say, okay, we'll send them a text message, we'll send them an email, and on that final reminder, we'll send them a print letter as well. And again, those will be sitting on the iRecall portal for you to print out and post.
Yeah. Well, that's good, because by that stage, the number that we're sending by post has diminished greatly.
And I've talked to practice managers, and they quite enjoy going to the post office when it's for 6 or 8 letters rather than the pile of this.
That's right.
So maybe just the last thing, just to share with the audience, is a little bit of a flavour of what you see on the Virtual Recall portal, which is essentially your dashboard to the service if you're using it. So I'll give you a couple of screenshots here. This is one. You have obviously your own login and your own password to get into your clinic. And here you see how many messages have been sent today and how many in the last 30 months, for example, in the last, 30 days. And you can see all the options down the left-hand side, and I'll show you just a couple of a flavour of what you get. Next slide. If you clicked on message log, you then all the messages that were made or that were sent in the last, well, they're all on there for as long as you like. You can search. That's a big database of all the messages you've sent. So if Mrs. Smith comes in and says, you didn't send me a reminder about my vaccination, you can check whether you did or didn't, for one. And also you can see how your message is looking and whether you're happy with the wording and all that sort of thing in this view. The next one and the last one. So the last one there, these are also within the portal. You get a flavour of how your sales are tracking over the previous 4 years, and what a difference you're making with, obviously partly due to the reminder system, and I'm sure you're doing a lot of other good things in your clinics as well. But that's a very useful measure, taking data from your system showing that the sales of the vaccines are improving, and the sales, depending on which modules you're using. There you can see the parasites, an example below. Okay. So that's the final slide for me. We sell this product in modules, so you don't have to use everything. Like Jim, who's kindly spoke to us earlier, he uses parasiticide and vaccination reminders currently. We have health check, appointment, nutrition plan, and client feedback surveys also as different modules within the platform.
That's excellent, Stuart. I guess the next question is, if our attendees want to find out more about this, they should contact you, of course. But I guess I think I should tell everyone too that our IVA members can enjoy a discount and a special IVA deal with iRecall.
Yeah, there's certainly discounts with IVA members, and there's also, believe it or not, with vaccine companies. They're very happy. One in particular to support this, primarily because they sell more vaccine. They're not too scared of that. And it's same with some of the parasite companies. So by all means, get in touch. It'll be an individual set up for each clinic regarding pricing and what rebates and plans are available.
Well, I suppose at this point I better come clean and say that, for argument's sake, IVA has negotiated a phenomenally good deal with Boehringer Ingelheim on their vaccines for member practices of IVA, but furthermore, it extends to iRecall as well, so that there's further support not only through IVA but through one of IVA's key partners, Boehringer, so that the iRecall program becomes even more compelling from a cost point of view.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great. Thank you very much. All right. Well, in the interest of time, only 5 minutes to go. Let me just take the liberty of telling our listeners, I guess, about something that's coming up too. This is not related to reminders, but the Independent Vets of Australia has a conference coming up in September, which is on the 7th, 8th and 9th of September, and it's going to be held at Coogee Beach in Sydney. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fantastic, because the network of people who are members, and of course you don't have to be a member to come along. We would love to welcome you, but it's going to be a great thing. We've got some excellent speakers coming up. I'm not sure if you can see on the slide there, but Chris Riddell, who's from outside of our industry, he's a very engaging speaker as a futurist. Katrina McCarter is going to be talking about marketing, and particularly marketing to mums. And if we think about it, who our core client is, the majority of them are going to be women, and particularly mums. And then Claire Madden is a terrific demographer. And so she's going to tell us about demography in Australia as it pertains to our clients, but also as it pertains to our staff. And so that's going to be, they're just three of the speakers. The first day of the conference, on the 7th of September, is a profit diagnostics practice benchmarking workshop. And I'd have to say to you, I can't recommend this enough. If you are in a practice and you want to grow your practice, grow your business, grow your revenues, it's extremely powerful to participate in this sort of benchmarking. Our benchmarking is done independently through APL accountants. IVA don't see any individual data whatsoever. It's completely independent, completely confidential, and it's done through a phenomenal piece of software called Profit Diagnostics. And Profit Diagnostics makes this benchmarking happen automatically for you. It's not something that's manual that you've got to go and do a lot of work for. It interrogates our financial systems like MyOb or Xero, as well as our practice management systems. And this data comes in every week or every month. It's extremely powerful. So in order to get the best value out of that workshop, please sign up to Profit Diagnostics. There is, again, a special IVA member rate for that, which is a saving of over $200 a month. And that the return on investment of doing that benchmarking will be out of this world. I can guarantee it, hand on heart. I do it. I already do it in my practice. So please do that. If you want to find out any more about Independent Vets of Australia, if you want to find out about how the IVA Buying and Management Group can drive your business, your profits, and make the management easier, then please talk to us, reach out to us, go to the IVA website, email us, call us, that's fine. And at the same time, I guess, please also reach out to Stuart, because if you want to find out anything more about how iRecall can help your practice like it's helped Jim's practice, then please reach out to Stuart too. There's some contact details for you. iRecall, Stuart, mobile numbers, but probably if you just go to the website, www.virtualrecall, you'll find everything you need to know. And if you want to find out more about Independent Vets of Australia, then please go to our website too. So it's been absolutely a pleasure having you, Stuart. Thank you so much for being part of it, and thank you to James for being part of it, and thank you so much to our attendees for spending a time in the middle of the day on a practice day. So thanks to all, and farewell.